Okay, hello YouTubers, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first Doctor Tardis from An Unearthly Child, the B&M version. So, normally rather than jumping straight into figures and the Tardis itself, I'm going to show you the backdrop of the packaging. So, if I get this all on camera, you can see underneath, for the packaging of this one's being redesigned because underneath here we've got some flaps that fold out like this, and these bits fold out there to make a bigger diorama than usual, yeah, because before it would basically cut off here. And the actual box that these come in has now added a window at the top as well, so yeah, that is something new. Now the only thing about this is it can't stand up on its own like that, it needs something resting behind it, so I've used a can of deodorant placed behind there. But yeah, it seems like a lot of effort went into the packaging of these, and will TARDIS X in the future adopt this one where it folds out at the bottom? 'Cause I haven't seen anyone talk about this, how these fold out like this to... And, you know, it is, I will appreciate, you know, it is a little thing, but it does make it a little bit more of a playset, I guess. So, there's that in terms of that regards. Now, taking a look... I'll take a look at the first Doctor figure first, since there's not a lot to say about this figure. I reviewed the original set where I went into detail about the original, so if you want, you know, a more detailed look at this, then, you know, by all means check out that one. I'm gonna aim the light a bit upwards. There we go, so we can get a more natural tone. Where? So this figure... Yeah, there we go, that's a lot more natural. So, the thing with this figure is that it's a sort of re-release of the original version, however, there are some differences. One, there is no walking cane, and there is no skull included, which, yeah, you kind of were expecting. Also, the trousers on this one are still the inaccurate colour that they shouldn't be. So, yeah. Also, weirdly this time, the tie, the cravat is being painted as... Well, not being painted at all, it's being left black. And, you know, there's two arguments to this. One is, it's a cost-saving measure. And the other argument is, oh, it's meant to, you know, represent the tie he wore in the first episode. But it's just like, it looks nothing like the tie, because it was just a standard, you know... tie, whereas this is clearly a cravat, which should be blue. Then there's the issue with the scarf. So rather than having a cloak this time around, it is just a scarf on its own. Oh dear, that has fallen over. So yeah, the only thing with this is basically the issue here is that in the pilot he does take off the cloak first and then has the scarf on for like a few seconds and then, you know, takes off. But in the actual first episode where he is wearing this cravat, he takes off the scarf first, so he is never not wearing the scarf with the cloak. And there's the issue. So this is Aldewar's obsession with variance for the sake of variance. I'm going to move that backdrop off actually. Yeah, variance for the sake of variance, which, you know, it is a problem here because neither of these two match. And yeah, it is just a bit annoying because I would have liked the cloak, especially considering he's also got the hat as well. It would have been nice for people, you know, to be able to pick up that original figure. I mean, the trousers are wrong on it regardless, but yeah, it's just a bit of a weird one. I would have... You know, I don't know why Aldewar is so against straight-up re-releases, because he seems to basically alter them, even slight things, just for the sake of it, but he does seem to be against re-releases. I guess the only logic I can think of behind that is just like he doesn't want the same thing as in his collection multiple times. Regardless, let's take a look at the TARDIS, which is an improvement over the original. For one, the colour. It's got a lot more of that sort of chalky texture to it, but also you can see that because of the washes on it, it makes it look more like it's being painted blue several times over, rather than, you know, just being a solid colour, because the other one, the original release, was a very dark blue. You can also see the lancing on that used here, and the new roof, which, yeah, it is really nice to finally, you know, get this roof, although the join is obvious, particularly on my one on this side, where you can really see the join, and the colour of the roof and this bit, you know, clearly do not match. This is two bits that have been put together. So I'll say it would have been nice if the blend between the two of them, you know, was a lot better, you know, making it less obvious that this is a separate piece, though. The signage is quite nice, and thankfully, you know, is printed on and isn't a sticker, which goes around all the sides. And then, oh look, it's the return of the battery compartment. Yeah, for some reason my SD card glitched out there, so I'm having to re-record this bit. So yeah, now the thing about this is that I think really this should have been the Character Online exclusive and being the electronic TARDIS, and the Troughton one just be, you know, a regular B&M release. And the reason I say that is because, you know, this one is how the TARDIS appeared more often. This is how it appeared basically throughout the first 3 seasons. Obviously it got a bit more battered as time went on, but, you know, this one is more, I'd say, more iconic. Whereas the Troughton one was basically only used for Evil of the Daleks and the vast majority of Season 5 bar Wheeling Space. Anyway, let's take a look at this. So, here we also have the ghost of the St. John's ambulance badge, which they're no longer allowed to use on the actual TARDIS anymore. So, yeah, it means none of the merchandise is allowed to use it either. Don't know the reason why, but there you go. Now, the way it's done here is pretty clever, just showing a bit of it. Now, the way it is, because the thing is, this is actually close to how it appears on the actual prop, because on the actual prop, they basically, for the first episode, they repainted it and painted over most of the St. John's ambulance badge, so it was only a bit visible underneath the paint. So, yeah, this does quite match up well with it, and remain like that throughout pretty much until the Troughton era, where it was repainted again. But then here's the other issue. This white border around here. Now, this border should not be white. It should be blue. Because in the pilot, it is white. But the St. John's ambulance badge is fully visible, and also the police box doesn't have this more, you know, battered-looking appearance that it does here. It's basically pristine. It doesn't have any weathering and stuff like that on there. Whereas in the first episode, you know, it has this weathering on here and that, and the St. John's ambulance badge looks like that. And this border should be blue, so yeah. Why is it like this? Probably cost, so, you know, nothing has to be painted. It is literally just white, moulded plastic. So, yeah, bit of a shame there. The weathering does continue, and that's all the way around and on the windows, although, again, your weathering may vary on these TARDISes, because it does, as ever. Also, for some reason, they've gone back, rather than using sellotape on the doors, they've gone back to putting plastic through the side hole bit, so yeah, you're probably going to get warped post or warped doors. Thankfully, these ones aren't too bad, but yeah, it just opens up, same thing as ever. I will say though, I really do like this TARDIS. I think it is really nice. The first Doctor figure is a bit of a letdown for me. Mainly, I think I could live with it if it wasn't just for the bloody trousers and just like, you know, it's just a variant that, you know, it's just like, why with just the scarf? And also, I do wonder whether he has actually done a new mould of the scarf with this, which could be the case, or whether it's a case of it's a new mould. So he's either altered the old cloak mould, or it is a new one. It could be a new one, because I've got a feeling this might be slightly longer than the original release. Also, just like the original, it isn't painted on the other side. So, yeah. Overall, I'd say this is a really nice TARDIS set. I do really like it. I prefer. Do I prefer it to the Abominable Snowman? Well, I think I prefer the TARDIS itself in this one, though I definitely preferred the Abominable Snowman Troughton figure that came with it. So yeah, it is a nice set. You know, and I'd say this one is a worthy variant. This one is finally, you know, a worthy variant to pick up. I was honestly surprised that this is actually a thing, because I was much more expecting an 8th Doctor TARDIS to come around. Who knows, maybe that might be the next online exclusive, who knows, but yeah, this one I'd say is definitely a worthy variant, especially with the new roof and everything. And it just, obviously, its skill obviously has its inaccuracies for it, but you know, at least effort. I can see some effort in that has been put into that, which is always appreciated. The figure, though, the figure is a letdown. I would not buy this for the figure. I would purely buy it for the TARDIS itself. So yeah, overall, that's it for this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.